How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing great. Welcome to Thrilling Thursdays. We are going to have some thrilling experiences together today. I just know it. We are still working on prosperity lessons today. So, without further ado, let's get a talisman going, shall we? Here we go. I've got my glass here. I've got a plain white index card and a plain number 2 pencil. How easy is this? No equipment necessary, really. If you don't have an index card, you can just use any piece of paper that doesn't have anything else on it. Let's put our name in here first, as always. So put your own name if you're doing one of these. We are putting the name called All Viewers here, so that includes everybody who wants to be a part of this. We always start out with, we use an odd number of thought seeds. I always tend to use 3 because it's a nice, easy number. And the first thought seed is always peace or serenity. Then I have 2 other thought seeds, and today we are dealing with Sakiel, or Jupiter, the angel of Jupiter. And so one of the qualities of spirit that is highlighted by Sakiel is truth. So we're going to put that down here. And let's put in a wealth. Let's just go for it. And then all we do is we close that circle up, trapping those thoughts within. And then we're going to put the symbol for Jupiter at the corners, and that's our invocation of Sakiel. It's a very simple, streamlined way of doing things. In the angel magic course, we have a much more complex way of doing things, and that's fine. I, of course, forgot my candle. That's okay. I can do that later, or you can omit the candle. I am going to use some perfumes today. Let's cleanse with this L'Occitane Vervain. I love this Van Van. It's probably my favorite. I do love I love them all. My 2 favorites are this one and the Provence Santé, and I kind of like them evenly, but if I had to have one over the other, I'd probably choose this one. If I had to, but it's sort of like Sophie's choice. Okay, so I call upon the Carib of the East, the Carib of the South, the Carib of the West, and the Carib of the North. And into this circle, we feel the golden light of the solar light moving out through every aspect of this circle, cleansing us and purifying us, empowering us. And so it is. Let's put that to the side. All right, let's do this. That works. Why not? Except for this looks kind of weird. I'll put that on the altar later. Okay, so, I don't know. We don't even need... I kind of like this purple, don't you? Let's do that. Let's do that so we can see it. Okay. All right, so today I wanted to continue our prosperity lessons, and I want to talk about the Hermetic principle of mentalism and how it pertains to prosperity. And I have by the way, I have the chat thread open if anybody has any questions or needs to say anything. Okay, let me start that again because I may use this as a video. I don't know. All right, in fact, let's just pretend like I'm using it as a video. Merry meet. Thank you for joining us today. We are on our live stream and we are discussing prosperity. Specifically, we are discussing how the principle of mentalism in Hermetics applies to prosperity. All right, so the principle of mentalism states that thought produces results always on some level. Thought always produces result on some level. And we have noticed that it's the habitual thoughts that seem to be the most powerful, not the thoughts that we think occasionally, but the ones that we aren't always even aware of because they're so habitual. That those are the thoughts that are the most powerful. And so in any kind of magic or whatever you want to call it, we call it magic because I think that's the most honest title for what we do. But whatever works for you. Anytime you want to create change, it's absolutely imperative that you find an astral double, an astral equivalent for that which you desire. And then that astral equivalent needs to be installed into your deep mind so that it becomes a habit, a thought habit. Until a thought habit is established, it's not really producing results on any level that is going to be pertinent to you. So yes, you will maybe get some results here and there, but it's only the habitual thoughts that are deeply installed into our mind that seem to create results. And you know that that's true just by looking at your life, right? The thoughts that you have ingrained and that you don't even question, those are the thoughts that tend to reflect back at you as your experiences. The way that you know reality is will show itself to you time and time and time again. So if you want a different reality, we've got to go in and find a way to change the habitual thoughts. So there's a lot of ways that we can do that, but I'm going to give you an easy one. And so if you're in a place where you have a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, that would be a great thing right now, because I want you to go through this with me, even if you've done it before. If you don't have a piece of paper and a pen, you can use some sort of an electronic device, although paper and pencil tends to work better. All right, so while you're getting that together, I want to just talk about what we're going to do. We're going to start to uncover some of the thought patterns that are running our finances and our sense of prosperity, and then give us an opportunity to find a way to alter those thoughts and to install or plant new seeds that will then take root and grow and create new results. Okay, and similar to what we do in any kind of magic, but we're going to be extreme today. We're going to really get this happening. All right, so take your piece of paper or your whatever you have and try to, if you have a blank sheet, that would be the best. And at the top of it, just write down the following. The reasons I don't have what I want are. Another way you could put that is the reason I don't have what I want is. Okay? And just with the stream of consciousness, just complete that sentence again and again and again, even if it doesn't seem pertinent, even if you think it's not right. Don't worry about it. Just put it down. And see if you can get maybe 10 reasons or more of the reason why I don't have what I want is. The reason I don't have what I want is. The reason I don't have what I want is. Over again. Okay? And start to fill that piece of paper up with those reasons. Even if you think you're making them up, it's okay. I'm just going to give everybody a second to complete that. I'll edit some of this out. Obviously, we don't need all this silence on a recording. But I do want you to complete this exercise. This is an interactive day. It's not just about listening to Ariel talk at you. You're actually going to do something. All right, so finish those later if you haven't gotten at least 10. Okay, it should be fairly easy. Then I want you to put a new section or a new page and write the following. Money is, and then complete the sentence. And be honest, just let it come up. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be indifferent. Just be as honest as you can be. Just regurgitate, even if it seems weird. Just if you honestly felt that or if you honestly thought that thought, write it down. Don't try to edit it. That's what I mean by honest. Don't edit a thing. If it's good, if it's bad, if it's indifferent, just what it comes up as. Money is. Try to get at least 10 things down there. Just regurgitate. Money is. Money is. Money is. And keep it going. I got a few more of these to do. This a lot of people, think that this sort of stuff might be a little boring, but you got to go through this. You got to figure out what you're doing. What you're thinking. All right, so finish that up later if you have to. Try to have at least 10 items. All right, then a new page or a new section. You're going to write the following. The reason I can't have what I want is. The reason I cannot have what I want is. Just keep repeating that sentence to you and yourself for a moment and regurgitate what you come up with. Just whatever it is without editing. The reason I can't have what I want is. And just give yourself at least 10 items. Just really dig deep if you can. But try to be as spontaneous with the answers as possible. Just repeat the question to yourself, and the first thing that comes to your mind, just write it down. Just write it down. Don't worry if it's right or wrong or anything, okay? Just a few more minutes on that one. Okay. Let's do a couple more. Let's do the problem with me is. The problem with me is. The problem with me is. Keep repeating that sentence. Don't worry about it. Be as negative as you need to be. You're not creating this. You are revealing some hidden thoughts. And some of them may not be real. That's okay. Just let it just come out. Whatever comes up without editing. First thought each time you say the problem with me is. There is no wrong answer, I promise. Okay. Okay, we're going to do two more things. We're going to do two more things. One, the next one is the payoffs for having money problems are. And you can rephrase that to whatever works for you. The payoffs for having money problems are, or my payoff for having money problems is. A payoff is just a neurotic thing that you get. I get to have people feel sorry for me. I get to not worry about whatever. I don't have to work hard, whatever your thing is. I get to be right. I get to do this. I get to do that. My payoff for having money problems is. And then just try to get 10 payoffs. Whatever your most neurotic thoughts are should be coming up now. They're silly. Okay. My payoff for having money problems is, or my payoffs for having money problems are. Just write them down. Don't worry about it. Do your best. Dig deep. Let it happen. Let it come out. And we're going to do one more after this. So write those down. You can finish the rest of these off a little bit later if you didn't get 10. And then the last one is my fears about giving up poverty are. You can phrase that however you want. My fears about having money are, or my fears about giving up poverty are. Okay, either way works. My fears about being prosperous are. So whatever that works for you, just write it down and then just come up with as much as you can that just kind of do your best to regurgitate. If you get stuck, you can say, well, if you can say, I don't have any reasons, then you can say, well, if I did have reasons, what would they be? If I did have reasons, what would they be? And just make them up, okay? So don't worry about it. Just do your best. My fears about having money are. My fears about giving up poverty are. Okay? And you can finish that off later. But you should have, 40, 50, 60 negative thoughts, right? So what I want you to do is go through them all. First of all, notice if there's a similar thought that comes up again and again and again. Put a check mark by that one first. If there's one that seems to be a recurring theme, put a check by that one first. That's an important one or two or three. If there are themes, notice those first and put check marks by all those thoughts that are thematically reoccurring, no matter what what category of question we were asking. If there are repeats, we want to know those first. And then go through the rest of them and just kind of just sit with each thought one at a time. And the ones that tend to give you the most emotional response, those you want to put a check by too. The ones that you just are really just like, ugh, put a check by those. Okay? So you should have, once you're done with this exercise, you should have at least 1 to 5 thoughts probably that are standouts. Okay? And if there are any courageous individuals that would like to, in the chat thread, put an example of what one of these thoughts are, I can show you what we do with them. Okay, so if you are courageous enough to do that, I won't mention your name on the stream, but it will be. On the stream, but it will be on the chat thread. So that is something to consider. So if anybody is courageous enough to share one of their negative thoughts with us, I can help you to move into the next part. All right, so what you are going to do is, if you can rip those sheets out of your book, that would be great. First of all the negative thoughts that you have, if you can rip those out of your notebook, that's great. If not, if it's a kind of notebook that you can't rip it out, then just leave it. That's fine. What you can do now is let's take the number one thought. Let's just say that I'll give you an example. Okay, being raped. The reason why I'm. Can you tell us so being raped? I was raped, therefore I can't have enough money, kind of thing. The reason why I'm afraid, my biggest fear about money is being raped. Is that what it is? I'm not sure. What can you tell us? What? Oh, I'm not good enough. I will betray my family members who died sick and poor. That's a good one. Oh, let's look at that one first. That one's you kind of hit on something that is more common than you'll realize. This idea that you cannot do better than your loved ones, or somehow you're going to hurt them. We have this idea that if I surpass my loved ones, that somehow I'm going to hurt them. And when we hear it like out loud, it's sort of silly, right? but that doesn't mean that it's not a very powerful thought form that's controlling you and guiding your every action in regards to your prosperity. That you love your loved ones, you love your family, you love your parents, whoever it is, and if they sacrificed and they never got ahead, if you were to get ahead and you were to do well and you were to surpass them, somehow that would hurt them, or that would betray them, or that would in some way be a betrayal of your love for them. Now that sounds silly, doesn't it, when we say it out loud? But it doesn't sound silly to that part of your mind that's keeping it. So let's reframe that in a new way. So the way you have it is, I will betray my family members who died sick and poor. You could easily name those people and just say, my prosperity honors blah, 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 blah. The more prosperous I am, the more I honor my loved ones, right? I am free to prosper, and that prosperity honors my loved ones. Things like that. The more I prosper, the more my loved ones are honored. Now, if they're dead, if they're not around anymore, you could even go one step farther, because you don't know what they're going through over there. But I can guarantee you that they're not saying don't prosper. They don't care anymore. But you could say, my prosperity. My prosperity is celebrated by blah, 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 blah. So-and-so celebrates my prosperity. You could even do it that way. If they're alive and that's not necessarily true, if somebody's alive and they don't support you, you can say, I am under no laws but God's. Only God wants me to prosper, and what God wants goes. Things like that. And once you find a statement that actually feels right for you, just try a few on. But if it feels like for instance, the more I prosper, the more I honor my loved ones, um, it if it really does negate that thought, well, turn it into a mantra. Turn it into a mantra that you use again and again and again and again, so that when something is not working for you or whatever, when you're confronted with an issue that with prosperity, when something doesn't seem to be working, or you're afraid it won't work, or you're up against something, use that mantra right away so that you can recognize that part of what's going on is you're trying to fulfill an old law that you no longer want anymore, and so that you can actually use your journey, your prosperity journey, to uncover and eliminate that thought. So in the midst of things, you're going to bring that thought into the next into whatever it is. So let's say you've got a new website or something that you're trying to launch for as a new income stream, and you start coming confronted with a bunch of problems with it. You can just say, I wonder if this has anything to do with me trying to fulfill this old law that I can't do better than my loved ones, or I'll hurt them, or whatever it is, or I'll betray them. And so then you just say, my prosperity honors my loved ones. My prosperity honors my loved ones. My prosperity honors my loved ones. And you imbue whatever this new project is with that thought. And notice if it doesn't sort of unlock a lot of the issues as you go, little by little, you know? And if you can use that, if you can install that new thought form so that it becomes your new habit, then you're going to see things really take off. And there's many ways to do that. You can do spell work. You can take that thought and turn it into a visualization. You can turn it into some sort of symbol that you can then utilize in a spell. For instance, if you could do like and these are just ideas. You can use anything that you want. You can use affirmations. You can use whatever you want. But say you wanted to do a spell during the waning moon, you could do like one of those poppet spells, like I did for fear. But you could do this one on the part of yourself that thinks it's betraying its loved ones by prospering. You could do a poppet spell where you transform that from that into this new thought. Right? And if you do it symbolically like that, if you do magic really symbolically like that, it bypasses a lot of the chatter in your mind, and it goes straight to that thought form, and it deals with it directly. You know what I'm saying? The other thing you can do is start writing that new thought out. Use the power of the written word. Start writing the new thought out. You can write it out, 5-10 times a day if you want to. Notice what happens if you write it out 10, 20, 30 times a day even, if you have time, every day for a week. Notice the shift in how you just feel about prosperity, because that's everything, isn't it? They call that your vibration. Your vibration is just how you feel. A high vibration means that you have a high mental state and a high emotional state. Whereas if you have a low vibration, you got a low mental state, a low emotional state. And working with this new thought, writing it out like that, notice what it does to your mental and emotional states. Thus, your vibration. That vibration then brings you into a new manifestation potential, right? So whatever methods are interesting to you, use them to install this new thought into your mind. And you can change the way that you say the new thought. You know what I mean? Try different things out. See what slips into your mind the best. It should be something that the positive thoughts that are closer to the truth, because it's not true that your prosperity is going to betray your loved ones. That's not true. That's not objectively true. There's no truth to that. But it is true that the more you prosper, the more you honor your loved ones because they're the ones that raised you, right? That's where you come from. It honors them for you to prosper. That is true. So a true thought form takes a lot less energy to maintain than a lie. A lie takes a lot because not only do you have to have the effort of maintaining a thought form, but you have to have the effort of maintaining a thought form whilst bucking the tide of truth the whole time. It's so hard to keep those negative thought forms alive because they are going against the grain of truth. And so that's why we're so tired all the time, is because we spend so much energy trying to keep these lies alive inside of us. So you'll notice that when you start working with the new thought forms, it should slip into your mind a lot easier than it's been to keep that old thought form alive, just because you're now allowing yourself to exist within the truth. Let's see. I'm not good enough. That's another good one. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to prosper. I'm just not good enough. There's something wrong with me. There's some iteration of that we have that is normal for most people in this world, because that's what we're told all the time. Just turn on the TV. You're not good enough. That's why you need this product. You're not good enough. That's why you need our thing. You're not good enough. That's why you need to go to school. You're not good enough. That's why you need anything in this world. This world wants to give you things to make up for the fact that you're just not good enough, right? But that's not true. That's not true. And so again, we are all working overtime trying to hang on to this idea that we're not good enough, just because it's what we think we know, right? And we don't realize the immense amounts of effort that it takes for us to keep a lie like that alive. But it's just how it is. So when you start looking at, you could say I'm good enough, but that's probably not good enough. That's probably not going to work. So let's look at other ideas besides I'm good enough. You can get more specific, like with prosperity. Just you could say I'm an extension of infinite prosperity. I was created out of infinite prosperity. My entire being is infinite prosperity. Therefore, prosperity is my natural state. It's how I was created to be. That's a lot different than I'm good enough, because I'm good enough kind of makes it sound like I'm good enough. It can be like that. But so rather than just saying I'm good enough as a response to I'm not good enough, just take it as far as you possibly can. No, I'm an expression of perfection. Infinite love, infinite intelligence created me. So infinite intelligence is my birthright. Infinite love is my birthright. Infinite success is my birthright. So those kinds of things, those will fly in the face of that a lot better than I am good enough. And you can just say, I was created perfect. I was created perfect. Now, we don't demonstrate perfection. We understand that. We're not saying that out of an egotism. But when you recognize that who you are as a soul is absolutely perfect, and that you don't have to change anything about yourself, you don't have to change anything about yourself in order to prosper, that's a very, very high place to be. And it's a good thing to remind yourself of that often. And again, you can do spells to install this idea, however whatever way that you state it, that rings your inner bell the best. You can create spells to install this thought form in ways that are symbolic, that are somewhat childlike in their methods, because that's what the deep mind understands more than an intellectual understanding of I am now good enough. That's what we get with some of these affirmations, is that just like if you can recite affirmations like a parrot long enough, somehow your deep mind is going to say okay. It never works, does it? Because your deep mind doesn't care about your affirmations. Your deep mind wants to know what's true based on its language, and its language is symbols and emotions. and feelings. So you got to learn how to feel like you're an expression of love. You have to learn how to feel like infinite intelligence is working through you. You have to learn how to feel that way in spite of it all. And so so if you have phrases that can help you, or images or symbols that can help you feel that way, the feeling is what it is, because that's that vibration we were talking about. Until we get that vibration going, there's really all of the rest of this is just theory. But as soon as you can get that feeling going, then you know that thought form is getting installed. I have a question here. What to do when you notice a pattern, like every time you are an inch close to prosperity, something happens and you go back to square one? Well, just exactly what we just did. Take out that piece of paper and just say the reason why. What did you say? The reason why everything goes to square one when I'm an inch away from prosperity is, and write it down. What's your first thought when I ask you that? What's the reason why everything goes to square one when you're an inch away from prosperity is? What's your first thought? What's your first thought? What, without editing, what is that first thought? And then what's the next one, and the next one, and the next one? Give me an example, and let's see if we can help you through that. Because that's just it's just a way. It's not something like happening to you special. It's just a way that those thoughts are manifesting. And for you, there's probably a whole story about why that's true. And so when that story starts to reveal itself, we can rewrite that story. We can rewrite that script. But if you don't know what the script is to begin with, and you're just going and you're just leaving everything in your unconscious mind, and you're just like, I don't know what's going on. It's just, everything is so weird. It just happens to me. And if you think that way, then it's just going to be that way for you. But if you can really listen to what's going on in that chattering mind of yours, you can get very, very clear. Oh, there's no mystery why this is happening. It's because I have this thought, right? Well, okay, it looks like it's an external cause, okay, but if it always happens, how is it an external cause? If it always happens, you're obviously carrying it with you. So I need you to be a little bit more open to the idea that there's something in you, there's a thought in you. So instead of intellectualizing it like that and saying, what if it seems to be blah, 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 just do the exercise. The reason why this happens to me is... And if that's still not working, then just say the thoughts that I'm carrying that cause this to happen are, and then list those thoughts. The belief I have about myself that causes this to happen is, and then see what that is. And don't put up with that nonsense from yourself, because it wants to deflect. No, it's not my fault. No, it's not me. Everything is happening to me, and there's nothing that I can do about it. That's what it wants you to think. It wants you to think that so that you don't uncover it, because then it knows that it's going to die. But you don't. It's not a sentient being, so you're not hurting anything by destroying that thought. But thought forms we imbue with a survival instinct, because that's how we create status quo in our lives. We don't want our deep thoughts to be easily changed, because then our life as we know it doesn't have any stability. So we want these things to be installed so that they become our permanent reality. But if there's part of our permanent reality that we don't like, we have to go to the source. We have to go to the causal plane, and it's your thought. It is. Even if it seems to be external from you, you have to know where you're playing, where your part in this is. What part of that tango are you dancing? Because if you can fix your part of it, the rest of it will take care of itself. Always hesitating and looking for more knowledge or information before I take first steps in new endeavors out of fear of failing or messing up. Okay, so yeah, that's fine, but why? That's an effect. You're still talking about an effect. What is the thought? The reason I do that is... What are some of the things on that list when we were talking about, the things that are wrong with you, the things that you think are wrong with you? Those are the thoughts that we really want to look at. And so look at that list of thoughts that you came up with and see what are the opinions that you hold about yourself. That's the gold right there, or actually the lead that we can turn into gold. Okay. Yeah, no, yeah, do it. Do it right now. Do it right now. Don't wait. Do it right this second. While we're here, that's what we're here for. We want let's fix this. So get to that thought right now. Get to it now. What the reason why this happens to me is, and just write it out. What is the reason? The thing about me, the thoughts that I hold, the beliefs that I hold that cause this to happen again and again to me are, and then write them out. And don't edit, don't figure it out, just what comes up. What is your stream of consciousness? What is the regurgitation response? Okay, you want to catch it before you think about it, before you edit it, before you intellectualize it, before you decide you understand it, because you don't. That's the problem. You don't understand it, and that's why you're plagued with the problem. Okay, and so this is a way that you can understand it, but not if you are trying to micromanage the process. You need to just allow yourself to have a moment where you pull the lid off the cauldron and the demon comes flying up, and just like just like Trump did. He just went bleh and told Woodward all the crap that he's been doing without any filter. Well, you can't help it sometimes. Okay, and that's what we're doing to you. Well, that's what we're doing to you. You're just asking a question and it's going to respond. Okay, it can't run away. It can't, but you have to do it. Seems I never have enough champagne taste with the beer pocketbook. Okay, but the reason why I never have enough is, okay, that's not good enough. That's just, you're talking about an effect. We are looking for the cause. Of course you have that. Of course you have a champagne taste with a beer budget. That's the point of why you want prosperity, right? Knowing that isn't enough. Knowing why. What are the thoughts and beliefs that I'm carrying that are behind that manifestation? That's what we need to know. The beliefs that I'm holding in place that are causing this to occur. Okay, so ask yourself that question. Okay, so once you find that thought, then you need to ask for help. Either from your higher self or from somebody that's maybe good at this sort of thing, or do your very best. What's an alternate thought that I can think that will address this, that will take care of this, that will reverse this, but it's a thought that I can get excited about? It's called the Law of Substitution. It's an occult law. In occultism, it's called the Law of Substitution. It's a magical concept where you start with one thing and you substitute it for something else. So you're starting with one thought and you're going to substitute that thought with something else, and you have to choose a thought that negates the thought that you're trying to substitute and does it in a way that you can get excited about. So the idea that that I'm not good enough becomes I'm perfect the way that I was created. I was created out of infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence knows all. Those kinds of things. If you can get excited about that, then wonderful. But I am good enough. That's not that exciting. I mean, I guess it could be, but it's not as exciting as, whoa, I'm a force of nature. I was created to really succeed. Those kinds of thoughts are different than just some sort of rote affirmation. So you got to get excited about it. Beliefs like, I'm too lazy, I'm not good enough, I don't know how to succeed. Good. Okay. So I don't know how to succeed, right? Infinite intelligence shows me how to succeed. I am guided and led from on high. I know everything to do. I know everything to do at every turn, how to succeed. Just remind yourself of that again and again and again, and how exciting it is that you're shown And you can see yourself. You can see yourself being shown. You can see yourself moving away from old thoughts and into new thought patterns. You're not going down those old roads anymore. You're not believing that anymore. You can see yourself doing that. You can feel it happening, right? Oh, what was another one? I'm too lazy. Well, how about I get enough rest? I always let myself get enough rest. It's okay for my success to be easy. The more fun I have, the more I succeed. My success path is so much fun. I am always rested. Because usually laziness is usually that sometimes it's that you want to that you need rest. Sometimes it's that you think that in order to succeed, the reason why you're lazy is because you don't want to do all that hard stuff that's so awful. You'd rather not succeed than do all that horrible stuff. I used to think look at some of the wealthy people I knew, and what I considered was wealthy at the time. I don't consider it wealthy anymore, but I used to look at them and all the how hard it was for them, and how just like all the horrible, boring, icky stuff they had to do all the time. And I remember thinking, oh, if that's what it's like to be rich, I don't want to be rich. Well, that took its toll on me because I was young when I saw that. Now I look at it with new eyes. Those people were not prosperous. They maybe made some money, but they weren't prosperous. And since then, I've met real prosperous people who had tons of money but didn't have a life of drudgery, right? So remember that too, that sometimes the reason why we're lazy is because we don't want to do horrible things, and that's that's understandable. What was another one of yours? Okay, I think one of my causes is because my parents do it, and I copied it from them. Fine. But what is it that you copied? What were the thoughts that you copied from your parents? What were the beliefs about yourself that you copied from your parents? Again, that's still an effect, not a cause. It's closer. So yes, you're aping your parents. That's great. But it's not so much the behavior that you're aping. It's the thought about yourself that we want to get down to. Yes, the behavior is important, and we want that behavior to change, but the behavior can't be permanently changed until you have a new thought behind it. And that new thought form needs to replace, to substitute the thought form in place that you're noticing this behavior that's grounding this behavior that you're noticing. So that is one step closer. You're getting there. You are getting there. So is it you were raped for having money, or you're afraid of being raped for having money? Okay, so if you were raped because you had money, then there's a forgiveness process that you have to go through. And that's beyond the scope of today's call. But rape victims have, I'm a rape victim myself. I know it can be quite a journey. But there is life on the other side. So that's kind of a different lecture, but still there is forgiveness that needs to happen. And the thoughts about it, the thoughts about yourself that created that, not so much this happened to me, therefore that is going to happen. Again, even though it's a bad effect, it's still an effect you're talking about. What are the thoughts that you're carrying about yourself that are causing the poverty, and the decisions that you made about yourself, in regards to being raped, etc. Okay. Let's see. Money is hard to get. Okay. So we used to think, a lot of people think that the law of substitution is just like, well, okay, so the thought was money's hard to get, so now I'm going to think money's easy to get. Money's easy to get. Doesn't always work. It doesn't always work, because the reason money's hard to get is, it's not that money's hard to get, it's money's hard to get for you. And the reason money's hard to get for you is, that's the thought we want to look at. So for instance, if it were like, let's just say let's say I had that thought, and I said, well, the reason money is so hard to get for me is because I don't deserve money. I'm not one of the lucky ones. Well, the reason why I don't deserve money and I'm not one of the lucky ones is I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. Well, the reason why I was born on the wrong side of the tracks is because my parents weren't wealthy enough. The reason my parents weren't wealthy enough is because they were immigrants. Well, so I look at that and I say, well, they weren't, but they came from immigrant, stock. I'm just messing with you. But see, as soon as we started going far enough, we got off of what it meant to you and started going into history. So we're going too far down that path. We need to pull it back and just say, well, what about me? I'm not, what was it? Money is hard for me because I don't have what it takes, basically, is what that is. So how do you find I have what it takes for money to be easy for me in such a way that you can get excited about it? And you can say it in ways like every day the universe shows me another way that every day the universe proves to me that I have what it takes for money to come to me easily. Every day the universe finds a new way to prove to me that it's easy for me to be prosperous and wealthy. Those kinds of thoughts are a lot more fun and exciting than I am now prosperous and wealthy. Money is easy for me. Nobody buys that. But if you can just set yourself up for some expectation, right? What else can you do? You can show your faith. What's something you can do to prove to yourself that you now believe that money is easy for you? What are some actions that you can take to prove to yourself that money is easy for you? Well, maybe you can start a new business. Maybe you can start a new something, to prove it to yourself. Just say, look, this new thing that I'm doing is all about proving to myself that money is easy for me. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do all my spells. I'm going to do all the magic that I know how to do. And I'm going to prove to myself that I have faith because I'm going out on a limb here for this new business or whatever it is, so you can really get into it that way rather than just having some sort of static affirmation that people do that doesn't do anything for us. Annoys me. I am now prosperous. I am now prosperous. It doesn't do anything for you. You can just stop that. Okay. I'm not smart enough to figure it out myself. That's a good one. I'm not smart enough to figure out money. Okay. Infinite intelligence is the power out of which I am created. Infinite intelligence is the genius power within me. The genius power within me is something that was given to me. I now access the genius power within me because it was given to me, right? You're not taking personal credit for it. It's not egotistical. You are just acknowledging that infinite intelligence, the same intelligence that knows how to create a forest out of an acorn, knows how to have prosperity. And that same infinite intelligence is the same force out of which you were created. Therefore, that infinite intelligence now can guide you each and every step of the way. And so you can just tell yourself that I am being guided and led by infinite intelligence. I have all the information I need. I have all the intelligence I need at every moment of time and point of space in order for me to be very prosperous. That's a nice way of combating that rather than I am now smart enough to prosper. That doesn't work. I am now smart enough to prosper. All that does is it sets things up inside your mind to start arguing. Then you're just going to have a fight with your deep mind. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. And that doesn't go anywhere. Now, some people claim that over time you can wear your deep mind down. Doesn't work. Your deep mind is much more powerful than your surface mind. It will wear the surface mind down. And all you'll do is get disappointed and say, oh, there's something even worse wrong with me. I can't even make affirmations work, right? So let's not go down the road of that kind of affirmation. These statements that we want to make are different. We want to make a statement in such a way that it symbolizes the truth about who we are, that is going to supersede the lies that we've been telling ourselves. Okay, it's the truth because all of a sudden you go, oh, that feels good. Ooh, that one's a good one. Yeah. And then once you get that feeling, you can hone in on that feeling. And that feeling is an expression of truth. It's a reflection of something true. And remember, that has a lot more power than the lie And it doesn't take a lot of effort to hold truth in place because that's the natural state of your being. So whatever you can do to combat the lie with truth in a way that gets you excited, great. Great. Isn't that cool? Okay, let's see. These are really good. So good for working so hard, everybody. I'm appreciative of that. You have to work really hard to get money. You have to work really hard to get money. Okay, but look at what work really hard means. Now, look at Ariel's corner for a minute. You have no idea how much work this is. Nobody has any clue how hard this is, how much work I put into it. But it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't. So I don't think, oh, I got so much work to do today on Ariel's Corner. It didn't seem like that. It's just so much fun. I love I even love the icky parts of it, the grimy parts of it. I love all of it. It's so much fun, right? So it can't help but succeed. Right? The same thing goes for anything. If it's prosperous, it's gonna take a lot of hard work. But hard work should be play. You just play a little harder, and it's something that you just can't not do because it's so much fun. Even the yucky stuff is fun when you love what you're doing. When what you're doing has importance. When what you're doing is plugged in to the beam of your soul. Why you're here, what you're here to do. If you're plugged into what you're here to do, that means you're doing all kinds of stuff that you're good at, all kinds of stuff that you love to do. So all that hard work is built into it, but it doesn't seem like hard work. It only seems like hard work when you have to do stuff that you can't stand at a job that you don't like, right? And so we were raised, doing chores and stuff like that, maybe, like, okay, well, money doesn't grow on trees, all that stuff. And so then we just think, well, in order to prosper, I have to do a lot of stuff that I can't stand. So do I want to do stuff that I can't stand, or do I want to be poor? One or the other, because, in order for me to have prosperity, it's really going to be a lot of work. It's going to be super hard, and I'd rather just kind of take it easy. So let's just be poor and relax, right? And that we don't even realize we're making those kinds of choices. And it's such a bogus, erroneous choice, because it's not a choice between two real options. You're looking at options that aren't even real. If you were really looking, not you personally, but you collectively, if we were looking at the options as they really are, it would be, do I want to do my life's work and enjoy myself and have a lot of prosperity and be blissed out all the time? Or do I want to withhold my gifts from the world and stay in poverty? That's the true option. That's the true option. So yes, it will be a lot of work, but it won't seem like it. It won't seem like it. It's not yucky. When it's not, the yucky stuff is not yucky anymore. It feels great. Or you find other people that like to do the yucky stuff and you let them do it, and you find a way to pay them for it or trade them for it. That happens too. Right? Let's see if I got anything else. Fear of growing up, hurting people, and being scared of hurting people. These are really good. Fear of not being able to handle a different life. Oh, you hit gold. That is all the lead right there that you can transform into gold. You nailed it. Good for you. That was good. Let's take them one step at a time. Fear of growing up. Right? Fear of growing up. No, it makes sense that we don't want to grow up, because a child looks at adults and they go, ew, I don't want to do that. Ugh. Look at all that. They're always complaining. Money is always a problem. There's always a problem. I want to stay young. I want to stay, enclosed in my fantasy world where everything at least is fun. It may not be objectively fun, but I can have fun inside, right? So that's a great thought to look at. Growing up is something that is it's such a misnomer. Nobody really ever does grow up other than physically. You can't help it. But you can just say something like, I'm maturing into my prosperity. I love maturing into my prosperity. Every year is better than the last. Every year is better than the last. So find ways of looking at my future is safe. My future is safe. I look to my future with wonder, and I can't wait to see all the blessings that are going to be manifesting in my life. Fear of hurting people. I am created out of infinite love, and therefore I am highly pleasing to myself and others. I am God's divine child in whom God is well pleased right now. Everything I do contributes to the joy and aliveness of every other being on this planet. Those kinds of ideas. Just kind of play around with some of those ideas and just see what you can latch onto that really gets you feeling good, and then find a way to anchor that into your deep mind using symbols and just remembering the statement. Remember, it's not just an idle affirmation. It's there to bring up that feeling of once you hit on one that makes you feel good. That's the one, because the feeling good is the magic, because that's the vibration, right? The words are just a means to an end. What was the other one? Being scared of hurting people. Okay, there's that one again. Oh, I'm just going to stop with that. Just do that. There was another one. Fear of not being able to handle a different life. Okay. That one's a good one. So, oops. What is that? Everybody's calling me this morning. So, fear of not being able to handle a different life. God's plan for me is joy. And use whatever word you need to instead of God. Spirit's plan for me, the goddess's plan for me is joy. God's plan for me is success. I want God's plan instead of this. The divine design of my life is joy. The divine design of my life is success. That is my life. I want my real life instead of this one. So it's not that you're not going to be able to, it's that you want to understand by saying things like that it's not that you need to learn how to accept a new life that is so different. It's that you need to learn how to accept a real life that is different from the pseudo life that you've accepted for yourself erroneously. Recognizing that the truth of who you are is very, very prosperous. And I want to see the truth instead of this. I'm not gonna put up with these lies anymore. So those kinds of attitudes. All right, does that help? All right, everybody, you are doing super well. I love music, spirituality, writing, and filmmaking, but keep failing when I start. Okay, so the reason I fail is, because that's an effect. That's not a cause. The reason I feel like such a failure is, the reason I fail at doing what I love to do is, what do you get? The reason I fail at doing what I love to do is, that's a good one to ask yourself, right? And then ask yourself that, and then let's find a new thought that we can install through the occult law of substitution. That is changing lead into gold. So they call that alchemy in the old days. It's the occult law of substitution is a type of alchemy. It's under the auspices of alchemy. All right. So if you notice what what those causative thoughts are, then you can find that they are lies and ask for what the truth really is instead of that. And once you find the truth always feels amazing, and you're on it when you feel amazing compared to how you used to feel. The more you can get into that thought that's making you feel amazing over and over and over and over again, the faster you're going to see the results that you're looking for. And that's the secret there of any kind of magic. But today we're talking about prosperity, okay? And so yeah, you can do spells, you can do all the wonderful rituals to help install these thoughts. But remember that those are just tools. They are devices of communication to talk to your deep mind, to communicate your new desire to your deep mind. So candles, talismans, poppets, any of that stuff. They're just communication devices. Definitely want to respect the symbols. We want to use the symbols appropriately, but we don't want to get superstitious about those symbols. We want to understand that what we're really doing is changing our thoughts at the causative plane. Okay? Does that make sense? You guys are amazing. What good work. Ooh, I just feel so good about today. All right, well, we are going to end this stream now, and I appreciate all of your hard work today, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow for a witch's rosary. Woohoo! Next week we're going to be gone definitely on Tuesday and Wednesday. We may be gone on Thursday as well. So if you're not on my email list, you want to get on that email list, you can do that right on my website, arielscorner.com, ariels-corner.com, ariels-corner.com. Get on that email list, and that way you'll get the announcement to know what days we're dark next week. All right, thank you so much. I love you very much, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Blessed be.